Hello, how are you doing? Happy hump day. It's Wednesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, today I am speaking with Sandra Igwe. She is an inspirational woman. She is doing so much for women, black women in particular, black mums. And I'm really excited to get into conversation with her. I am welcoming her onto the stage. Sure, I'm just in a co-working space, so just checking that I'm going to be here by myself. So, guys, I'm so excited to have this conversation. Sandra's so busy, so I'm honestly really excited just to have this time with her. So I'm going to invite her up. Okay, good. So, as I say, this conversation is very much geared towards women. Hello. Hi, Sandra. How are you doing?
Oh, I am well, thank you. Thank you
I'm
so much for
so...
me.
Of course, of course. I'm so pleased to be having this conversation. You're not a very easy woman to get hold of because you look and you're busy, girl. So honestly, thank you for your time. It means the world. But as you're busy, I'm going to jump straight into it. I want to get straight into you because I see you talking on. I see you talking on panels a lot, and you're always advocating on behalf of black women and black mental health, but I really wanted to get into you as a person and your journey. I hope that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Amazing. So, Sandra, you are a founder of the Motherhood group. You're a maternal mental health advocate. You are a TEDx speaker. You're a mother of two gorgeous girls. You have been identified as Forbes' inspirational woman. And you're also an author, which is amazing. I'm going to buy your book because it just looks absolutely gorgeous. I was supposed to have it for today, but anyway, I'm definitely going to buy it. It's in my Amazon basket. You're also an entrepreneur. You're an influencer. You promote positive mental health. It just goes on. It goes on. Don't be embarrassed. This is the truth.
I'm really awkward, when it comes to compliments. I'm not gonna lie. If you know me, I'm always like, oh, cringe, stop it. I don't know. I don't really take really well, even though I'm all for women kind of embracing compliments. I don't take well to it, but thank you anyway. Thanks, Cheryl. I'm really excited. I'm seeing you on Sunday as well, aren't I?
Yes. Yes, I am. The Black Mum Fest. I cannot wait to come to that. So you guys, you can have an opportunity to meet Sandra in the flesh this Sunday, but we're going to get into this. We're going to get into this. So it's interesting what you say about having trouble accepting compliments, because when you're hosting panels, you do it so well. You do it so naturally. When you introduce someone, you really make the effort to do the research and have a look. So my first question is kind of in relation to that. I made a comment the other day about women doing everything because it's easier. And I saw that you commented to say, yeah, this is me. So I want to ask you about, why does that resonate with you? And it's like, oh, I'll just do it. Just leave it to me. I'll do it.
When you're so, I've got this sort of like independent woman syndrome-ness where it's like, if I don't do it, I don't know who else will. And I think that's the way I've been kind of raised. So, my mum was like a single mum, so I saw her basically do everything for all of us. And that's the kind of mindset that I had growing up, is that mum, women, we do it all kind of thing. So when my husband came along and he was like, no, we were struggling to do stuff. I really struggled. So that's why that resonated with me so much, is because I've always had that mindset of I have to kind of do it, get it done, do it well. I'm independent. If I don't do it, it won't get done. And it's taken a while to adapt. I'm learning. I think it's hard sometimes to delegate, and it's hard sometimes to accept help. It's also hard sometimes to just rest. I've got an issue with resting. I'm busy anyway, but even when I do have like quieter moments, I'm always looking, what else can I do to keep myself busy, to do more, so that I can potentially save more time in 3 weeks' time? But it doesn't make sense. I'm trying to get into the habit of allowing myself to rest, and sometimes like having an hour or two of just doing absolutely nothing, which is really hard for me. But yeah,
Oh my goodness. Honestly, I relate so much. So it's I think it's really good for people to hear you're human.
I'm human.
And you know, we all have our shadow sides, and yours is you don't rest. But yeah, it's just really interesting to hear this, because I feel like Black women in general, we have this kind of superwoman
Yes.
syndrome. So my next question is, can you speak a bit more about where this superwoman syndrome comes from, and why we should make a practice of checking on our strong friends?
Yeah, it's, Black women, I'll just say Black women, that statement alone says too much, but Black women, we're unfortunately used to being perceived as strong, and that's like shown throughout history, in the media, in family situations, society. So we believed ourselves as well, that we're just strong and that we don't have the capacity to rest, like myself sometimes when I'm trying my best, or to be vulnerable, or to be weak. And so sometimes we want to save everybody and we want to save ourselves. So we want to be literally Superman, Superwoman. We want to wear the cape for every Tom, Dick, and Harry in a saying. But so I feel like when it comes to forcing now, because it's literally, you have to force yourself to say, do you know what, this battle, this fight is not my own. Sometimes I make a proactive not get involved in like even certain campaigns and awareness days. I feel like Black women, we have to be out there. We have to be out there fighting. If we don't post, we're not campaigning properly. If we don't share, if we don't speak about it, if we don't make a 10-minute video about a particular issue, we're not behind the cause. Well, we might be, but we might be doing it in a different way, and that's to everybody. So yeah, where we came from, of course, history, but where we can take it now is we can be strong when we want to. But I think it's just as beautiful to be vulnerable, to show vulnerability, and also don't have to save the world. We're not a superhero. Other people could do it for us. So yeah.
Wow, there's so much in that.
Yeah.
And the one I want to pull out is you can show up when you want to. Like that's part of that's your choice. You get
Yeah.
to choose.
Do you feel, and Cheryl, because I don't know, do you feel like you're Superwoman?
Yeah, I do. And I really relate to that sort of like when you're resting, you're kind of like, but what else could I be doing? And you're kind of doing it with a sort of, oh, I'm going to work really hard now so that I can rest later. But the later, when it gets to later, you're thinking about what else you can do. So I think the practice for me is coming into the present moment. And that's the beauty of becoming a mother. I don't know about you, but my son really has made me meet him in the present, like, because you can try and work when you've got a toddler, but I mean,
only so much you can do.
yeah, I mean, I had to just figure out how I was gonna submit to the moment when I'm with my child, because trying to do the most for everyone, and as you say, post and be on time for whatever day there is, and oh my god, there's this moment, I have to be there, I have to be seen to be doing this. Sometimes you have to just say, you know what, my toddler needs me, and that's what I've got to do.
Exactly. And Mummy's Day Out said the strength is definitely in looking after ourselves too. And I think that's what we need to understand as mothers, as Black women as well, is that we can't pour from an empty cup. We can't keep pouring into other people, into other areas, when we haven't poured into ourselves first. And I think it's really important for us to learn to do that. Because sometimes it's actually you have to train yourselves, create a habit of pouring into yourself first. And that might look different to everybody. To me now, it's saying, do you know what, I'm going to get up an hour early, take my time out to meditate, pray without the kids screaming and crying in my ears, and then that makes I feel better already, and that's me pouring into myself for that moment.
I think that's really important, because you're saying you plan it in and you're on the front foot. It's not after the fact, oh, I'm tired, I need to rest. You build it into your life.
Exactly.
Because that's where you make the decision about, okay, what's the highest version of myself, and what does she look like, what time does she wake up, how does she care for herself? It's it's definitely something that you need to commit to, and it's a decision, and it's active. So thank you so much for underlying that and giving us the secrets and how you do it. You can see Diva XD saying yes, exactly.
Yeah. Hi, Dante.
Okay, so my next question is, what do you think we can learn from our parents' generation about what was useful in terms of how we show up to work, and what we can leave to one side?
I think our parents, I don't know where you guys are from, but I'm Nigerian, and you know, I think some of the traits and the characteristics and the habits that our parents had to have when we were younger, it was because they came to this country and they were on survival mode basically. But we're not in survival. Oh, I hope we're not in survival mode anymore. You know, we've been here, and so I think a lot of the things we will take, I can take. So, you know, I guess working hard and all of that sort of stuff, but not to the point when you wear yourself out. I think our parents struggled to find that balance between pouring into themselves, working super hard, and pouring into their kids. And sometimes you find a lot of children that are now adults who were raised by their you know, Afro-Caribbean parent, didn't really have that one-to-one attention or affection from their parent. They kind of missed out on that because their parent was out working like a slave all the time, because they had to, you know, provide for the family. They were on survival mode. They had to get things. But now we don't have that. We have a bit of a luxury just by the mere fact that we've been born and raised in England. We have a luxury now. And so I feel like we need to drop some of the, I would say, toxic traits of our parents. I think, not saying that they're toxic, but the traits that they've had to put on because of trauma, because of survival mode. And we can now start pouring into our kids and pouring into ourselves and looking more holistically at how can we find balance. Now, balance looks different to everybody, and balance is quite hard sometimes, but there's no point in saying, okay, I'm going to work, but then you yourself are suffering, your kids are starving, not starving physically, but emotionally, and your partner might be left. So finding some sort of balance, saying I'm going to drop some traditions and values that were passed down from generation to generation that haven't really served you or really your community, and adopting new ones. So yeah.
Oh my God, so many gems. Just want to backtrack on what you mentioned about the emotionally starving adults.
Yes.
Because of well-meaning parents, and this is why it's an interesting question, because we love our parents, right? We're here, we're alive, and there are some beautiful things like, you know, discipline, culture, food,
yeah.
music, all of this beautiful stuff. But that work ethic, because they were in a different position, and I think we really need to look at how much of an impact that gap in terms of your emotional needs not being met, and what that does to you as an adult, and really not play down how important that is. And that's why I love what you do, Sandra, like your posts, this wellness aspect that you're doing. Like we need reminders. You know, there was a wave of self-care, but we need it from you. We need it from different people. We need, you know, having it coming out of the mouths of people that look like us. Like, it's so important that you're visible as a beautiful dark-skinned Black girl, like doing it. And it's just so important. Like, we need these messages repeated and showing examples, because what you just said about, you know, the impact it has on us as adults, we you know, we could do this whole conversation about just that. But again, I really want to speak about you. I've got some comments that I just want to make sure. You go for it, Sandra. What are the comments?
This comment, she said, very true. Some parents just did understand how to give love and didn't. Yes, they labeled it spoiling children. That emotional starvation is so true. And if you say to your parents, Mom, I was emotionally starved, they will look at you like, what? I did that, I did this, I provided that, I done that, I did this. And I mean, fair enough, they did do that. And I think they tried, as you mentioned, to the well-meaning and also to the best of their capacity. But there's so much more to raising children. There's so much more. And we have to be really aware, so super self-conscious. We have to do the reading, do the research, do the self-development, going back into our own traumas, going back into our own lives and saying, okay, what didn't work for me? What don't I want to pass on to my children so that they don't have this vacant emptiness that I had in that particular area? And so it's not easy. It's really, really hard, but it's worth it. And I think just by that alone, just by having that thought in your mind, okay, I need to do better for my kids. I need to pour more into them and pour more into myself and have more of a well-rounded work family life balance as a whole, you've already taken a step. You've already got to the hardest part, which is acceptance and acknowledgement. Shantae, she said, there is a lot we have to unlearn for ourselves and our kids. So much. It's a shock to the system. And everyone loves most people love their parents and everything, and everyone loves their parents. But there's so much to unlearn and learn. And I think this generation, we're doing it. We're doing the work, I think, as a whole. And as you mentioned, like seeing a hyper-visible, dark-skinned Black mother, woman, kind of showing all of, the elements of what joy might look like. We can't just only show one element of parenthood, motherhood, Black motherhood. We have to show all of it in its glory. And it sometimes means, luxury. It sometimes means, because we can have it all. We do know there are horrifying stats out there that, show the disparities that Black women, mothers go through. But also we can find love. We can celebrate. We can party. We can be successful. We can make money. And we can laugh. We can look joyful, and that's why I'm very conscious in not making my social channels one dimensional. And I know there's some people that have followed me for a particular reason, and they're like, oh, she's also into decorating her house suddenly. Yes, that's what Black mothers do as well. Yes. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add to that.
Beautiful. I love the it's not everyday trauma. I'm saying we address it. You need to release it and confront some of the stuff so then it's not sabotaging you secretly without you knowing. So really address it. Some of us have got some stuff, but also joy, laughter, fun, design, luxury.
Yes. Events like I'm putting on Black Mums Fest, which is on Sunday. It's a time of celebration, of Black motherhood and everything. And we will be addressing, well-being, mental health, and some of the disparities. But we'll also be celebrating each other, the sense of belonging, community. It all needs to be addressed. And I think, we're not a monolith. We do have different elements to us, and I think it's really important to show that. I want to read Yellow Tiger's comment. She said, parenting with trauma is so hard. It's great to hear you talking about this. Yes, I know it's not really spoken about, and a lot of people I find don't really like to speak about their traumas because it opens up a box and forces you to look at your own way that you were parented and how that impacted and affected you, and how that kind of impact or affect your children. But it needs to be done if you don't want to repeat certain cycles, and if you want a better balance for you and your children. So yeah, it's definitely
so true. And trauma isn't just bad childhood. That's a lot to do with it, but a lot of people have bad experiences in the workplace, and that has a massive effect on their self-esteem and how they view themselves, and because you can only relate to people on the level that you can relate to yourself. So it's very important to go within, and that can be uncomfortable, and that's why Sandra and I do the work that we do. It's really about having that connection to self, and building yourself up from the inside out. So that leads me on to my next question, which is really starting to think about why you chose to go on this journey of being an entrepreneur, a leader, and working for yourself.
I don't know. So I could give you the answer because I'm passionate about X, Y, and Z. But I genuinely believe that sometimes I think there are born leaders and then there's made leaders. I've always kind of find myself as a rebel, as a child, as I always kind of go against the grain or think outside of the box, and I'll get in trouble for that. That was the thing that got me in trouble, was why can't you just do what everyone else is doing? And I think with those types of traits, it makes it just a little bit easier to go down the route of entrepreneurship or being a leader. But I think anybody can definitely have the traits or build the traits of a leader. And I guess for me, a leader is somebody who sets by example, somebody that's everything that I'm doing now is not because it was an idea. I thought, let me just do it. It's because I've been through it and I understand the journey and I understand the experience. And I feel like if you're passionate definitely about what you're doing, you would do it all day, every day for free. You will do it because you want to see change, because you love it, because you think about it in your sleep. And so if you're somebody who is, for example, a vegan selling meat every single day, the math just isn't mathing. It doesn't it doesn't make sense. So definitely it has to resonate with you, what you're trying to push out there. But also, I don't know, I guess if you're trying to push a product or a service, but it hasn't got a need, there's nobody that, and you don't yourself don't even need it, then it's not going to work. But if you see that there's an area that you yourself, like I've always wanted when I was a new mom, I just needed a space for Black moms. I just wish there was a space for Black mothers. And I did that for years and years. I would use all of my money to make sure that that thing happened. I wouldn't make anything. And that was what I was passionate about doing, just seeing and meeting and greeting other women just like me. And so I think, I hate the title anyway, entrepreneurship. It's doing what you love, what you're passionate about, and of course, finding your way to sustain it. And that's just, yeah.
Amazing. I mean, there's a huge percentage of Black women, pre-COVID, it was 42%. They're a huge growing sector of women that are entering the entrepreneurial space are Black women. Why do you think it is?
Black women are I mean, Black women have always been innovators. That's what I personally believe. We've always been very creative. We've always been forced to think outside of the box based on our circumstances. We don't really have that much privilege. So when you don't have privilege, when you don't have things handed to you, you tend to think, how can I make things better? So naturally, you're going to create and develop amazing ideas. I find that also mothers are quite entrepreneurial as well, because in that pregnancy period and when you go on maternity leave, you have time to think about, tapping into hobbies that you once loved and you want to do it again, or you find that you have more time to kind of do what you're passionate about and also find a way to monetize it. Also, going back into work might be really expensive, and you think, okay, what can I do to find a side hobby? So I think situations force people to become entrepreneurial, and that's just what's happened to Black women, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I see that. So in your practice of creating the Motherhood group and Black Mum Fest, which is coming up, which I'm so excited about, what you presumably have a lot of conversations with Black women. Your finger is firmly on the pulse, and that's why that's why you bring so much value to the organizations that want to work with you. What would you say is the thing that Black women struggle with the most?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think what we mentioned in the very beginning is just being allowed to be vulnerable, not having to always put on that cape, not having to always save the bloody world. A lot of us, when we were younger, we were, big sisters, but some of us were also mums to our younger siblings, and a lot of Black women then go on to have partners, and they naturally just become mummy figures to their partners that are grown men, and then they go into the workplace and feel like, okay, if I just fix everything, then I will have, value. So it's just the notion of being strong and wearing the burden all the time. So I think it's quite difficult for Black women to see themselves as deserving of rest, deserving of vulnerability, deserving of joy, deserving of luxury, of respite. I think it's really hard, but I think we need to get to that place where we all can enjoy it, so that when we see our fellow Black sister, we're not like, why is she, always happy, or why does she always have that? We can all enjoy it together. So
absolutely. I'm just looking at this comment from Yellow Tiger Designs. Could it maybe also be related to the appeal of working for yourself when there are so many barriers making it difficult for Black women and mothers in the workplace? I mean, that one right there, I know for me.
How did I do that? That should have been one. That should have been number one. There's so many barriers where we're almost forced to have to create our own avenue. If you've been told no, had the door shut on you so many times, you're going to have to create your own door, create your own opportunity, create your own space. If you've been trying to get into certain spaces and you've been rejected by the color of your skin, by your sex, by your background, you're going to say, do you know what? Forget it. Let me create my own. And then you find out actually I can do really well, you know, for myself. You see so many gifted, talented, aspirational Black women in the workplace who are stuck or they're capped at a level and they can't push or break through that. And then the moment they start to, you know, do their own venture, they've literally gone through the roof. And you're like, oh, that whole time it wasn't her, it was the system or them. So you're right.
Well, that's basically my whole journey, and to the point where now I'm like, you know what, I'm grateful for my struggle because I'm very happy living authentically as the result, because I would have been, had the avenue been open to me in the same way it was my counterparts, I would have been in the workplace and would have climbed that ladder, but there were too many barriers. That, but anyway, another conversation. But I just wanted to say, with the entrepreneurial journey, we had this conversation on Clubhouse. By the way, Sandra runs the most amazing rooms on Clubhouse. So if you're on Clubhouse,
long time, but yeah, thank you, Cheryl.
Okay, we'll go and find her. But I was just going to say that it's not, you end up trading a 9 to 5 for a 24/7. But as Sandra says, it feels like you're not working when you're working your passion, or you're doing something you genuinely believe in and you care about. Amazing. I'm going to have one more question because I know we're going to have to wrap up soon. So I suppose it's twofold. First of all, I want to know what your secret to a balanced life is. Is it a 50-50 split in your house, or do you find you carry the main load? And what is your secret to making it work?
That is a loaded question. The aim is definitely balance, but I will say balance looks different to everybody. There's no one fits all approach, and I think you have to determine what your priorities are for you to find balance. So your priority might be your fitness journey, your kid, and your business, but someone else might be their social life, their work, and their dog. I don't know, but it's everybody. So make a list, make a mental note of what areas are super important to me. What is the priority to me? What do I need to have for me to be filled with contentment, or to feel fulfilled? And then rank it and say, okay, if my family mean, you know, much to me, which I've put in my list or my mental note, I need to spend time with them. I need to say, do you know what, this Saturday, despite my work, this, that, I need to go to the beach with them, or I need to go shopping with them, or I need to just have dinner by the sofa with them for an hour and put my phone away, even though it's so tempting when you're so busy. So find what matters to you and prioritize pouring into those different areas of your life. There is no secret. Please, I beg, don't let social media somebody has a secret that has complete balance. The goal is to strive for balance, but whether you achieve total balance, I don't ever think we will ever have a complete balance. I won't lie to you, but striving for it, pouring into the areas that matter to you, and yes, delegating, making sure that if you do have support, if you have the support, for me, it is a luxury. If you have family, if you have friends that can say, I can help out in this area, don't say no. Don't say I can do it myself because I'm an independent, strong Black woman. Say yes, help me. I don't mind accepting support. And if you've got a partner, yes, make him do work too. Like, it's both of your households, both of your kids. You know, so in my household, we have a balance. He helps, I help, and we both support each other, and that is for the good of the whole household. So, there's no secret. I don't have no secret, but I know word for word what's really important to me. Times occasionally, so you might have to, you know, maneuver some things and take some out and put some back on. So I've started being a bit more food or health conscious, so that's been added to my list of priorities. I just finished a bowl of broccoli and mint. It wasn't that delicious, but it was okay because I've been going for cake lately. So just definitely readjusting that and re-looking at your priority list every so often.
Yeah, I love that. And that is, you know, it does take having that moment of, okay, what is it that I want? Not not what mum and dad want, not what my colleagues want, not what my boss wants, not what my child, what's important to me? Like, and that takes a a bit of work. You know, you actually have to have that conversation with yourself and be clear on what those things are. So that was such a golden nugget to close on. And before you go, I just want to ask you, where can people find you? Can you tell us a bit more about Black Mum Fest that's coming up on Sunday?
Yes, I'll be super quick because I got a meeting in 15 minutes. But I just want to say thank you, Cheryl, for being an amazing host and being patient with me. I know this was due a long time ago. You are phenomenal. You actually had a session for our New Year event and you delivered an amazing workshop. And we need to do that again because you are brilliant. You can find me on social media, Sandra Igwe, double E, or sandraigwe.com, Motherhood Group. Black Mums Fest is this Sunday. It's fully booked, fully like completely to capacity. And Boris, you know, he's capped some numbers, so we have to be seated down, but there'll be more throughout the year. If you are coming, can't wait to see you. There'll be amazing speakers, panelists, goodie bags, conversations, games, just a real sense of community and honest conversations that don't really get to happen for many of us Black mums. So yeah, thank you so much, Cheryl, for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been amazing. And thanks for everyone that's been commenting along. We see you, we hear you, and I hope you got some value from this lovely conversation. Sandra, it's been a blessing chatting to you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.